Emma suckered me into going to that coffee stand. Getting morning drinks is an expensive hobby.
We do it once in a while now, though. We don't do it all the time. We used to do it all the time.
We used to, yeah. I'm sure we saved a full salary doing that. Last night, it was a nice sleep. Nice sleep, of course, is always quiet. There was one gal in the evening, I went out to go take some sunset photos, and she goes, "Is that an Escape?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She said, "How do you like it?" So she's got a Caravelle, and we got to chatting, and it's kind of funny. Really excited about the fiberglass units, and they had debated between like an Escape and I think a few other rigs, and then she was also excited. Airstream used to have the fiberglass nest, you know. It's kind of a funny thing, which we might go check that out today or tomorrow. There's a little something to see.
Yeah.
She ended up with the Caravelle, and they like it. I think they've mostly worked out the bugs, but it was a nightmare apparently at first. Everything she said, they even had to rip out like the linoleum because of the mold. I mean, there's huge mold issues because window leaks and anywho. I think she's mostly worked out the bugs on those, from what it sounds like. So, but it was interesting. You come here and she's like, "Man, how do you like?" That's right. That's right. So, anyways, we got a couple things we need to do today, and some exploring to do. That'll be kind of nice.
It feels like slowly, the more we try to tire him out, the more energized he is in the middle of the night.
Well, it is a beautiful day out here, so I figured we'd go ahead and take a look at the sites out here in Jackson Center. Mostly this part of the campus here, and maybe we'll squeak on over to the new campus. But this is the Terraport, and so you can stay here. We stayed here quite a few nights, and it was very comfortable because the only time we ever plugged our Airstreams in, and it was very important in the winter, was when we were here. Otherwise, we were off of solar. Only 500 watts of solar, not enough to do a whole lot of anything. That's for sure. It's pretty empty here. I'll give you a little overview, and we'll see what's different this year. But this is the facility, we talked about that yesterday, where you can get service done. And here are some rigs that the owners are not, you know, either they're waiting to pick them up or they're waiting for parts or something like that. These are kind of the long-term deals. And we talked about that little, well, the big motorhome over there, that beauty. Man, I wish they made them like that again. But they don't. They make the little Atlas. So I had to go and ask about the trade zone. I showed that yesterday, the federal trade zone, and what is that all about? Really nice guy, and he goes, "It's the Mercedes chassis." He goes, "The Mercedes chassis, they haven't yet, I think it's like you haven't paid taxes, it's been imported, so they're imported straight here, and therefore it needs to have a guard on duty 24/7, or they get in some trouble, and they are audited intermittently, so you know, that's a whole thing." Here's where the base camps are made, and this is a cool before and after, let's say. All of these rigs will start as these little frames. I think they only have one size, if I'm not mistaken. And I guess you can probably count the outriggers on these guys, or the bracing on these guys, but it looks like there's only one size. I believe there used to be two sizes. I could be wrong about that. The base camp has undergone some transformations, but it is so interesting how, you know, you don't see anything in these buildings. You just see the before and after products, really. You can see some parts there. I don't know what those are all about. One of the interesting, I'll show you actually an example of it, but the early, like 2007, 2008 base camps were not very popular at all. I don't think people liked them. They didn't really understand them. They didn't do enough. You know, they were really marketed towards the younger buyer, and that looks like some aluminum scraps in there. Yeah, that's a lot of aluminum. So I bet you could use enough rivets, you could build your own base camp right there. But yeah, they were sort of marketed towards the younger buyer, and I don't think that they didn't really catch on. A lot of folks actually used the base camps, from what I recall, as like motorcycle haulers, which makes, I mean, to me it makes sense. It kind of look like it, right? But they are kind of cool. And one of my favorite features, actually, you guys, if you know, you know. But on the front, in the kitchen, you can see all those solar panels on there. It looks like at least 500 watts. That's actually pretty respectable for a little trailer like this. They would use air conditioners right in the front, like in the cabinetry, the kitchen cabinetry, they had little air conditioners, little window ACs. So I actually really like that design. They've moved away from it, and now the roofs are covered in these really ugly air conditioners now. But this is the other side of the motor home factory, so you can see some of the wheels there. Some of the nicer wheels. Actually, oh, maybe these are some of the stock wheels and they upgrade those. Yeah, maybe they sell those off in like wholesale or something like that, but not a whole lot out here. So now today's motor homes are really just, you have a van or a fiberglass bodied Atlas, and the Atlas, man, those are, they are pricey meatballs, and they're very complex systems, computer-wise, right? You have a computer to control everything. They also have slides, and I've talked to enough of these folks, and they generally seem to be an older crowd buying these, which does make sense. You have less nonsense. Man, they strap those right to the roof, don't they? Yeah, they do. No airflow. I'm also seeing two different types of panels. So maybe one is, let's see, let me get a little closer. Maybe one is just a 200 watt version. I don't know. Oh, that has Starlink already built in. Oh, that's fascinating. So maybe they're matched up perfectly. Do you notice the AC cowlings are silver on these? They just paint them silver. But it's an older crowd that tends to like these, it seems. It's kind of, which, you know, nothing wrong with that. But they are pricey meatballs, that's for sure. So you can see all these guys ready to roll. And then back here, they have the chassis. But there was one chassis I wanted to take a look at. I didn't know if it was an electric unit or if it just had a covering on it, because they'll actually replace the grill on these as well. Let's take a look, it's right here. You see that? Are they waiting for a new grill on this? That's what it looks like to me. But I have seen a rumor that they are, you know, and so that's only worth what it's worth. Yep, you can actually see it's probably the diesel particulate filter right there. And the drive line. Okay, not electric. I had thought that was electric, but I heard a rumor that that maybe they were working on an electric unit. I know they had debuted an electric trailer, but ooh, looks like muffler parts or that and rims. Oh, it's fun. It's fun just kind of poking around and being nosy. And so during hailstorms, man, I tell you, you'd think that a company like Airstream would have covered parking for all of these, but they'd all be undercover. I really like the Mercedes chassis, don't they? But they are not undercover. Now we see, okay, these are just vans. It's funny, when I see these grills though, I always think, you know, these covered up, I should say, I always think, oh, maybe that's an electric one. You never know, right? But when we look back here, that is a pretty big power system for this village, I believe, is what they're doing. They're feeding the grid. So to me, it would seem reasonable to set up another solar array, you know, basically use the land you already have and just, you know, protect the vehicles with solar panels and generate power. You know, get some credits and whatnot. Over there's some of the other buildings, so they have maintenance, parts, R&D. There's also a repair facility over there. We might go check out some of the area down the way, see what's changed over there, but maybe do that tomorrow. And then down the road, there's the main factory over there. So that field out here, most of the trailers were completely totaled, that were sitting right out there, as well as many of the vans here. And you guys can just imagine that insurance claim. Oh, that would be insane. That would be insane. But before we go over to the main facility, just like kind of looking for anything new, you know, they got the vans, it's a little bit cleaner, but I am so curious what they are gonna do with these guys. And it seems like these older ones, I should say, they haven't done a whole lot with them at all. They're just sitting there waiting to be loved. Look at them. Oh, they're such handsome units. aren't they? Man, oh man. All of these, just sitting there waiting for love. Ooh, these are kind of interesting. So this is a newer style of base camp. And then this guy, it's actually a 2007, 2008. Now, I've actually never been in one of these, but I really like the style of these. They're very different, but you can see there's no AC on the roof, unlike that guy there, that obnoxious air conditioner, right? However, this one has a really sleek design, a lot of subtle differences, including the taillights and all that, and you can see that the ventilation here, I believe that was to allow that window AC that they put into the cabinetry, allows that to get fresh air and vent out. Probably not the most effective thing, but I'm sure that if you lifted that lid, because that's where the propane tanks would also be, I'm sure that would make it even more efficient. So, anywho, not too much has changed on this side, really. Although this guy, oh man, you are a beauty, aren't you? Yes, indeed. What a beauty. And isn't this just so fascinating, the windows they used to have? So they used to have that cover and those taller windows, the two sets there. They kind of look a little goofy to me, but you know, I love a good set of windows. I love natural light. But let's go ahead and we can head down to the main factory. I don't think anybody's there today. Are they restoring this one? That door's a little wonky though. Yeah, it looks like they might actually be restoring that. I could be wrong. Or maybe just someone's pet project. Who knows? This is Airstreams' new campus, and this is where they're building the iconic travel trailer. You know, it's, as I heard yesterday, it was reminded, the phrase is Americana. And it is, I fell for it, man. I am a sucker for, you know, the American dream and the iconic design of Airstream, frankly. It really is a great design. Now, we have our qualms with I want to just say the quality of build, but we had a lot of issues with ours. You know, that's not to say that they all have issues, but, you know, a lot of the issues that we had were really, you know, a lot of the reasons that we loved the Airstream is a lot of the reasons that we had problems with the Airstream, and it just wasn't the perfect home for us. That doesn't mean they're bad. Look at all the freaking frames they have out here. Last year we didn't see nearly as many, and what do we see here? Is that an aluminum frame? Yeah, it sort of looks like an aluminum frame. It's really difficult to tell from here, of course, but it sure does. Huh. Can't get much closer from this position, but very, very interesting. So we have an aluminum frame on our trailer and have not had any issues with it at all. We do have it, of course, set up with the anti-sway and the weight distribution hitch, which was initially kind of a concern of mine. Like, is that going to be a problem? But not at all. No cracking, no creaking, no warping, no nothing. Which is really good. And my favorite part, no rusting. You know, and especially on a trailer like an Airstream, where the rest of it's aluminum for the most part, other than certain components. You know, an aluminum frame would really, it would save them weight. You know, they are pretty strong, obviously, as we can attest. And it reduces that point of maintenance. You know, you don't have to worry about removing rust and spot treatment and all that good stuff. So so we saw obviously the frames and the wheels and all that good stuff, and then some of the scraps. These are the trailers they're spitting out here. And last year, all we saw were dimpled Twinkies over here. Let us see if the silver Twinkies are dented anymore, or are they healthy? You can always tell, you can see the wrap they put on the front when they're ready for transport. I will say, the style of attachment for these makes good sense, right? You get a thin, lightweight solar panel. Looks like the birds are kind of excited out here. Do you see that? Oh, no, is that a bat? I'll have to play that back. It looks like those are bats. No, that was a sparrow. I saw the belly. But on my screen, it almost looks like they're sharp birds. Oh, we must be near one of their nests, if I'm guessing correctly. Please don't hit Dora the drone. Get out of here, guys. Oh man, so they're kind of swooping. But yeah, you can see these are all wrapped up. They're ready to go. I am very, oh, I see. Okay, I was gonna say, are they not doing the aluminum front propane covers? They are. Look at that solar kit. I would be willing to bet that is on. Oh yeah, okay, I see you. See, I just wish that they had a gap on these ones. They don't. Oh, What is this one? Oh, you see those dents, those dimples? It's kind of poking out there. It's a little bit of a concern. Is this their trade wind? It is the trade wind. Yeah, that's one that we really like a lot of the features. You can get like 600 watts on the roof there. But yeah, compared to these guys, these I would trust would be a lot longer lasting. And now they are actually screwing these in. It looks like it's probably not a bolt if I had to guess. Probably not a rivet either. It's probably just screwed in there. But yeah. The uniformity, it's funny because every Airstream to me looks unique, even though they look almost exactly the same from the front. And we always talk about these kind of the auto camp units here. I think these are really funny, but one thing I actually, you might or might not notice is where are the air conditioners on these. So these look like they're ready to ship. They won't have windows on one side, you know, and I believe you can still custom order. You know, if you've set up a relationship with these guys, you can custom order these and whatnot. But yeah, I don't see any dimples, no hail damage on any of these, which is great. Yeah, no AC, only one vent. That surprises me. One vent and then a restroom vent, and then it looks like that might be the shower vent right there. So, so maybe they're just gonna set up a little space heater or electric heat. Oh, I guess this one has a rooftop AC. I wonder what the other ones are going to use. This one has a very interesting skylight. Yeah, that's a skylight. Oh. That one's very unique. But I actually, so this one is not, ooh, I bet I know what this one is. This is not going to go to auto camp. So I see a round window and what almost looks like, and what I see later on when I'm editing the video is very different a lot of times, because you only get so much resolution when I get to look at this. I believe this is a Frank Lloyd Wright unit, and I really want to tour one of these. I did not know it had that skylight though. That's kind of curious. Oh, two skylights actually. Two skylights, 300 watts of solar it looks like, and no badge at all. Weird. Are they getting rid of the orange ugly? I think it's ugly. I'm being a little biased here, I think, but it's kind of an orange badge that says Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation. Yeah, no badging on this one. Okay. Maybe they're waiting for those to come back in or something. Oh, this is so fun. I don't know. Do you guys enjoy these videos? Look at that cutie. Look at that cutie. Look at that. I love these things. Oh, they're just fun. There's a 23. I had a 23 when I first started out, and I think it's a good size for your first trailer, especially. I would have bought used, but I didn't have enough cash. So this guy is still here. And you know what I was saying yesterday about, you know, the older ones being better? I believe this was here during that hailstorm, and I don't see any damage on it. So did they reskin it? I doubt it. So maybe it is better. Maybe it is better. You see that was an attempt at the Vista view there, but it's a square Vista view. What do we see here? So no front window. There's a 30 amp hookup there. A driver's side door. Is this gonna be a food truck? Yes, it is. Yep, there's actually two doors on this guy, a single AC. Yep, it's gonna be a food truck. See, you can custom order them. Just found that interesting. All right. I think we dilly-dallied a bit here. I think these are way more interesting than the vans personally. And I think the reason for it is that when the van's motors die, I mean, you're kind of done with the vehicle, right? Now you do have the Vanagons and all this, that, I mean, the motor dies, they replace the motor, it's still living, right? But a lot of those were just the coolest. Oh, that's cute. I like the way they bunched those up. But a lot of those were just the coolest designs, right? Like it was like the design had a spirit of sorts. And I think that a lot of trailers have spirit. For whatever reason, I think especially this style of trailer just has a spirit. I'd like to think our Escape has. You know, it's one of those designs that it's sort of universal. It's just really cool looking. These, I think our trailer is one of them. There's a lot of very interesting, you know, old Shasta's, a great example. And you want to rebuild them. You want to keep them on the road just because they look like they were made by somebody who's kind of a kindred spirit of sorts, I guess is appropriate to say. I think that the Mercedes vans, to me at least, I don't know, I just don't see myself ever wanting to throw a new engine in one, you know, unless it just made financial sense. But the design doesn't speak to me like that in the same way. And I think that's really what it is about Airstreams is that regardless of whether they're a functionally good fit for folks, you know, materially, they are design-wise a good fit for most folks. You know, people just feel understood and they understand the Airstream for one reason or another, and they'll keep them for years and years and years, and they just love them. And honestly, they are a pain in the ass. They're little princess trailers, you know. They're delicate. They need work. There's no doubt about it. And anybody that owns one knows that, appreciates that, hopefully, or their trailer's in really bad shape. But as a result, you know, they still love them in most cases. If you've kept it for more than a year or 2 or 3, right? They know that. They are kind of a living machine, so to speak. A cozy living machine of sorts. But anyways, hopefully this was kind of fun for you guys. I'm not seeing too much different here today at the factory, other than the fact that, I mean, the trailers are in really good shape this time, and they're not all totaled. So, you know, that's kind of a factor. I'd really like to see them cover these up, like a solar field or something like that. I think that just would make good sense, economically, logically. Yeah, protect your creations, right? Anywho, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.